Christopher Columbus, born in Genoa, Italy in 1451, felt the pull of the sea from a young age. The salty air, the cries of gulls, the promise of distant shores, these filled his dreams. He devoured tales of Marco Polo's travels to the Orient, his imagination ignited by descriptions of silks, spices and unimaginable riches. The young Columbus yearned to explore, to chart unknown waters, and to write his own chapter in the grand narrative of exploration. Little did he know, his journey would forever alter the course of human history. By the late 15th century, Europe was experiencing a surge in trade and exploration. The age of discovery was upon them, driven by a thirst for wealth, knowledge, and the exotic goods of distant lands. European explorers, fueled by tales of riches and adventure, set sail into the unknown, navigating treacherous seas and uncharted territories. The Silk Road, a network of land routes connecting east and west, had long been the primary source of valuable goods from Asia. This ancient trade route was a lifeline for the exchange of not just goods, but also ideas, culture, and technology. Spices like pepper, cinnamon, and cloves were highly prized, adding flavor to bland European diets and serving as preservatives in an era before refrigeration. These spices were worth their weight in gold, often used as currency and gifts for royalty. Silks and porcelains from the East were symbols of wealth and status. The luxurious feel of silk and the intricate designs of porcelain captivated the European elite, who sought these items to display their affluence and sophistication. However, the Silk Road was fraught with danger. Bandits, political instability, and the harsh terrain posed constant threats to traders. The journey was not only long and arduous, but also required navigating through hostile territories. The sheer distance made the journey long, perilous, and expensive. Traders had to brave deserts, mountains, and unpredictable weather, often risking their lives for the promise of profit. European nations sought a faster, safer, and more profitable route to the treasures of the East. The allure of bypassing the dangers of the Silk Road and establishing direct trade links with Asia was irresistible. Columbus, with his unwavering belief in a westward passage, offered a daring solution. He proposed that by sailing west across the Atlantic, one could reach Asia more quickly and safely. This bold idea would eventually lead to the discovery of the New World, forever changing the course of history. Columbus's vision was met with skepticism by many. The prevailing scientific belief was that the Earth was flat and sailing west would lead to an inevitable plunge off the edge of the world. Undeterred, Columbus spent years seeking patronage for his expedition. He presented his case to the Portuguese court, only to be rejected. Finally, after years of setbacks, he found receptive ears in King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella of Spain. Driven by a desire for wealth and to spread Christianity, the Spanish monarchs agreed to finance Columbus's risky venture. They equipped him with 3 ships, the Niña, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria, and a crew eager to find fame and fortune. On August 3, 1492, Columbus and his crew set sail from Palos de la Frontera, Spain. The journey across the Atlantic was arduous. Weeks turned into months, and the vastness of the ocean began to weigh on the crew's morale. Food and water supplies dwindled and fear gnawed at their resolve. Columbus, however, remained steadfast in his belief that land lay ahead. He quelled mutinies, calmed fears, and kept his eyes fixed on the horizon. Finally, after more than 2 months at sea, signs of land appeared, birds circling overhead, branches floating in the water. Excitement rippled through the weary travelers. Their perilous journey was nearing its end. Section 5. Land, but where? On October 12, 1492, after a long and arduous journey across the Atlantic Ocean, Columbus and his crew finally made landfall in the Bahamas, an archipelago in the Caribbean Sea. This moment marked a significant turning point in history. Believing he had reached the East Indies, Columbus named the native inhabitants Indians, a misnomer that persists to this day. This misunderstanding would shape the interactions between Europeans and the indigenous peoples for centuries to come. He claimed the islands for Spain, planting the seeds for what would become a vast Spanish empire in the Americas. This act of claiming land set the stage for the colonization and conquest that would follow. Columbus was struck by the lush vegetation, the clear blue waters, and the unfamiliar flora and fauna. The natural beauty of the Caribbean was unlike anything he had ever seen before, and it left a lasting impression on him and his crew. He encountered indigenous people who were curious and welcoming, offering gifts of food and crafts. These initial interactions were marked by a sense of mutual curiosity and cautious hospitality. Columbus, blinded by his quest for gold and spices, saw not a new world, but a stepping stone to the riches of the East. His relentless pursuit of wealth and his belief in the existence of vast riches just beyond the horizon drove his actions and decisions. As they explored the island, Columbus and his crew began mapping the terrain, documenting their findings, and preparing for further expeditions. This was just the beginning of a series of voyages that would forever change the course of history. Section 6. Worlds in Collision. Columbus's voyages marked a turning point in history, the beginning of sustained contact between Europe and the Americas. This encounter had profound and far-reaching consequences for both sides of the Atlantic. The exchange of plants, animals, and ideas, known as the Columbian Exchange, transformed diets, agricultural practices, and ecosystems around the world. European crops like wheat, sugar, and coffee were introduced to the Americas, while New World staples like potatoes, tomatoes, and corn made their way to Europe. However, this exchange was not without its downsides. Section 7. Riches and Ruin. This chapter delves into the profound impact of European colonization on the Americas, a tale of both immense wealth and heartbreaking devastation. Columbus's discoveries in 1492 sparked a wave of exploration and colonization of the Americas by European powers. This era, often romanticized, was driven by the promise of untold riches and new territories. Spain, Portugal, England, France, and the Netherlands all vied for control of this new world, driven by a thirst for gold, silver, and other resources. The competition was fierce, leading to numerous conflicts and alliances. The consequences for the indigenous populations of the Americas were devastating. Entire communities were uprooted, and their way of life was irrevocably changed. European diseases like smallpox, measles, and influenza, to which Native Americans had no immunity, swept through the continents, decimating entire civilizations. These diseases spread rapidly, often wiping out entire villages within a matter of weeks. Those who survived disease were often subjected to forced labor, enslavement, and the loss of their lands and cultures. The imposition of European systems of governance and religion further eroded indigenous traditions and social structures. The arrival of Europeans in the Americas marked the beginning of a dark chapter in human history, one marked by exploitation, violence, and cultural annihilation. The legacy of this period is still felt today, as indigenous communities continue to fight for their rights and recognition. Command, currently the VO is 121 words long. Please expand it to be 230 words long. Section 8. The Weight of a Legacy. Columbus returned to Spain a hero, celebrated for his discoveries and the promise of wealth they held. He embarked on 3 more voyages to the Americas, further solidifying Spain's presence in the region. However, his later years were marred by accusations of tyranny and brutality in his governance of the Hispaniola colony. He died in 1506, still believing he had reached Asia and unaware of the true extent of his discoveries. Columbus's legacy is a complex and contested one. Section 9. Columbus Day, Hero or Villain. For centuries, Columbus was hailed as a visionary explorer, credited with discovering America. His voyages were romanticized, and his image adorned textbooks and monuments. However, in recent decades, there has been a growing movement to reassess Columbus's legacy, acknowledging the devastating impact his arrival had on indigenous populations. Columbus Day, once a federal holiday in the United States, has been replaced in many cities and states with Indigenous Peoples Day, a day to honor the history and cultures of Native Americans. Section 10. A Universe of Perspectives. The story of Christopher Columbus is a reminder that history is rarely black and white. It is a tapestry woven from countless perspectives, each shaped by its own unique context. As we continue to grapple with the complexities of the past, it is essential to approach history with nuance, empathy, and a willingness to challenge long-held narratives. Only then can we hope to learn from the mistakes of the past and build a more just and equitable future. In the vast expanse of the cosmos, our shared human story, with all its triumphs and tragedies, serves as a constant reminder of the importance of understanding, compassion, and the pursuit of knowledge.